In case you haven't heard of it, Hutto is a suburb of Austin that's about 7 miles east of Round Rock, and that is just north of Austin. It's an up-and-coming city that you might not have considered if you're moving to Austin, but you probably should. And just so you know, it's pronounced Hutto, not Hutto. So just a little tip to help you blend in around here. So let's talk about the pros and cons of living in Hutto so you know what it's all about, starting with the cons. By the way, my name's Tiffany Moore. I'm a realtor with Rise and Shine Realty right here in Austin, Texas. I put up videos every week showcasing the market, and I help folks buy and sell homes here from all over the world. So if you want to make sure that you're up to date on whatever's going on in the market, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. And also, if you'd like my free guide on how to buy your first home in Austin, comment below and I will send you the link. Number one con is the school system is acceptable. In 2019, the Texas Education Agency gave the Hutto ISD a B grade. And so I'm listing this as a con only because other school districts in Austin and the surrounding areas have traditionally earned better scores. But a B isn't bad, it's just not great. It's not an A. Hutto is an up-and-coming suburb, and it's likely that that score is going to improve as the population grows. So if you don't have kids, this might not be that big of a con for you. However, we talk about in some of my other videos the correlation between highly rated schools and higher priced homes. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? That's not what we're here to talk about. They're just recognize that there is a correlation. So the higher homes are priced, usually the better the schools are. Con number two is rural living. Hutto might be close to Austin, but it's in a very rural area. So if you're looking for a suburb that has all the amenities of Austin, like restaurants, bars, nightlife, Hutto is not going to be a place that you will enjoy. Con number three, job opportunities. So with Hutto being a small rural area, it doesn't have the same type of employment options that other suburbs like Round Rock and Leander and Cedar Park might have. So this may be an issue if you're going to need to commute to work, but if you already have a job, you're working from home, or you work hours that don't match the normal traffic patterns, then this might not be that big of a deal for you. Con number four is your proximity to Austin. So if you want to go downtown a lot and hang out, shows, restaurants, all those things, Hutto is kind of a long drive. So during peak hours, getting to downtown from Hutto can be anywhere from a 45-minute drive to an hour-long drive or longer, depending on traffic conditions and depending on what kind of construction is going on the highways at the time. Number five con is traffic. So kind of along the same lines of what we just talked about, where it's hard to drive to Austin or it's not that close to Austin, it's mostly because of the traffic. It's not that far in terms of miles, but the cars on the road and the fact that Austin streets were just not really built for the kind of growth that we're having, that's what's causing the traffic issues. So Round Rock is just to the north of Austin on I-35, which is a highway that's been under construction since literally dirt was formed. And because of all the construction, the amount of traffic on the highways, it increases year after year. It can make it really hard to get to Round Rock, and then from Round Rock, you've got to get to Hutto. So you can expect long travel times, especially in the morning or the afternoon, your typical commute times. But if you're going to downtown from Hutto, at noon on a Wednesday, it's going to take you maybe 30, 35 minutes because I-35 is pretty accessible from Hutto, and then you just take that all the way down. And kind of true for all the suburbs in Austin, there really aren't any good public transportation options to get you from Hutto to Austin. So if you're going to live there, you're going to have a car, and traffic comes with that. And I want to say this caveat, if you're going to live in Austin, you're going to need a car. So even if you're living in Austin proper, you're living downtown, we are not built like a New York City or a London or a Boston where you can just hop on the train station or jump in a cab and go over. I guess you could get in a cab, but it's going to get pretty expensive after a while. Anyway, I'm trying to say that Austin is pretty spread out. So in order to get anywhere, you're going to need a car. So if taking public transportation and hopping on a train is important to you and you want to live outside Austin, Leander is probably going to be a better fit because they are building a new metro rail. They're building this huge new live, work, play development called Northline that's going to have a train station there. And this is kind of in the middle of where they're building all the new construction. So it's perfectly placed. So if you're thinking about I want to go down to Austin, I want to take the train, I don't really want to park, give it a couple years. Leander is going to be the place for that. And the time to get in on that is now because prices just continue to go up. We're kind of in a lull right now, meaning prices are stabilizing to where they were before COVID because there was so much inflation and so much appreciation in the market. It was kind of insane. So we're kind of peeling back on that. The market's getting a little bit more normal. So now is a good time to buy because in 2 to 3 to 5 years, that Northline station is going to be up and running. There's going to be lots of shops and restaurants and cool things to do in that area. And you can just take a straight shot all the way to downtown. But it's not very convenient to Hutto. So Hutto is a little bit further east from where this new Leander Northline stuff is going to be. So now let's talk about some pros, and there are some big ones to talk about. Pro number one is the cost of living. This is huge. So when you compare Hutto and the cost of living to Austin proper, Hutto is very affordable. And there's a lot of options and multiple different price ranges, making it a good choice for just about anyone who's looking to live in the suburban areas of Austin. So there's a lot of new construction going on. Earlier when we talked about Hutto being very rural, it's still very rural. Like outside of some of these new construction neighborhoods, you still got like cornfields and cotton fields and stuff like that. So some of the new construction areas are Emery Crossing and Durango Farms, and there's a few more established neighborhoods like Caramel Creek, Hutto Highlands, and Creekside Estates. Hutto has been growing by leaps and bounds. In fact, the very first home that I ever sold was to one of my dear friends and former coworkers. It was new construction in Hutto, and at the time I was like, are you guys sure that you want to be out here? It's kind of like out here. And over the years, the city has grown so much, and now there are tons of neighborhoods and things to do, shops and restaurants. It's really close to the expansion that's going on in Round Rock and the Kalahari Resort. It's close to the Round Rock baseball diamond, and it's a lot more affordable than Round Rock right now. So they knew something that I didn't. They could see the writing on the wall, and they're like, yes, this is exactly where we need to be. It was so, like, it's affordable now. It was so much more affordable then because nothing was really built up around it. So that's the same pattern that's going on in Leander right now too. So especially around that Northline area, like there's a bunch of new construction that's kind of been there. There's so much more growing. And so in the next 3 to 5 years, all the commerce and the industry is going to be built up around these neighborhoods. Like exactly what happened in Hutto, that's what's happening in Leander too. So the number 2 pro is growth. So growth is coming. Yes, Hutto is now a rural area, but it won't be for long. So Hutto draws in large crowds of millennials and was named the 2017 best suburb for millennials in the Austin metro area by niche.com. I love niche.com. I love them for their stats. I get a lot of information from them about demographics, who lives in certain areas, and it's cool to know that they're tracking that millennials are moving to Hutto, which honestly wasn't really on anyone's radar except for the past couple years. So Hutto has gone through a major transformation over the past decade from a sleepy rural Texas farm town of 1,250 residents to Austin's fastest growing suburb with a population of over 24,000 people. One of the biggest examples of growth in Hutto is the downtown co-op district. So the co-op is home to a lot of different restaurants, retail shops, offices, all that stuff. And it began with Hutto's municipal buildings, including the library, the city hall, and now it's a mixed-use, walkable development that is going to expand to a 35-acre site. That's like a live, work, play development. So similar to if you've heard about the Domain, I've got a video about the Domain. Check that out. It's got all kinds of restaurants and shops and stuff that you normally find downtown, except they've moved it up north, so you can you don't have to drive all the way down there for that. So it's a similar idea to what they've got the Domain and the Northline development I was just talking about. The co-op is the same concept. So if you're looking to get in on the ground floor of a suburb that has lots of room to grow, this is a really good location to consider. The number 3 pro is proximity to Austin. Yes, I did talk about this as being a con, but it really just depends on your perspective and your preference. This could also be a pro. So if you don't want to go to downtown a lot, if nightlife isn't really your thing, but you like being close enough to visit in the off-peak times, maybe you want to go at noon on a Saturday, or you want to check out the museums or go have lunch or something, then Hutto is close enough to downtown, and this might just be what you're looking for. Pro number 4 is safety. So in 2020, Hutto was named the number 1 safest city in Texas by the National Council for Home Safety and Security. People here feel really free to walk around the parks, to go shopping, and not really worry about crime. So I mentioned I like to use niche.com for community stats. Feel free to check them out and do your own research. The number 5 pro is outdoor activities. So there may not be a whole lot to do as far as like nightlife, restaurants, stuff like that, but there are a lot of things you can do outdoors in Hutto. So Hutto's Cottonwood Trail is a paved 3-mile trail that runs from Fritz Park to Nadine Johnson Elementary School, and it passes through Creekside Park along the way. And this trail is ideal for people who are looking for like a wide pathway for jogging, biking, and hiking that's not going to get all like clustered up and traffic jammed and things like that. So the historical commercial downtown district in Hutto has these beautifully restored 19th century buildings that are home to a church and a variety of locally owned restaurants and shops, and it's really fun to walk around and just kind of stroll and have a quiet, peaceful afternoon. So when you talk about doing things outside, like it doesn't have to be hiking, biking, running, doing all that stuff. It's just like be outside and enjoy like fresh air and not being, with the AC and the paint and the ceilings surrounding you. Just be outside. And Hutto has a lot of options for being outside that you don't have to like put on your helmet and your sunscreen and all your gear. You can literally just like put on shoes and go walk around. If you do want to put in all your gear and on your sunscreen, there's Hutto Lake Park, which is a 40-acre municipal park that has got picnic tables, playground, basketball court, fishing pier, and a boat launch. There's 2 multi-use trails that total about 1.25 miles, so not too long, but enough for you to kind of like get out, stretch your legs, do all that fun stuff. Also, Hutto has a unique event every year called the Crawfish Festival. So it's every April, obviously, that's when crawdad season is. The Hutto Chamber of Commerce hosts the Crawfish Festival in downtown Hutto. So it's got attractions like live music, it's got big hamster balls, and obviously plenty of crawfish. The Crawfish Festival is always a huge hit that is just like food and fun and another thing to do outside so you're not just like inside all the time, and just something nice to do with your family. So if you're researching areas to live that are outside of Austin, check out this video that's all about living in Georgetown. And if you want to talk about moving here, reach out to me. My contact info is below.